the anti-discrimination, I think many employers who are dealing with any type of discrimination claims under Title VII, if you have 15 or more employees, now you have different coverages under the completely revised Virginia Human Rights Act. So I would say for most employers in Virginia, you're going to have to worry about the anti-discrimination. And they've built that concept into this emergency temporary standard. So if you have an employee who says, I want to, I don't think it's safe here and I want to bring up this concern about my safety, then you are prohibited from discharging or discriminating against that person because they brought up their rights under the ETS. It also means that you can't discriminate or retaliate or discharge somebody who wants to wear certain protective gear in the workplace. And I'm going to say my experience has been in Northern Virginia that there is a lot more people who are wearing masks based on my discussions with the employers, our clients, and that in some other parts of the state there may not be as much feeling of a need to wear the mask. The law is, and what the governor has asked people to do is there. But right now in the country, as we can see with our election, there's a lot of different views. You have some people who believe that the COVID's not as bad and they don't want to wear a mask. And then you have others who find it's morally reprehensible that you interact with anybody, everybody should stay home. So recognizing that this is where we are now as a society, and certainly in Virginia and probably in the entire country, is you have that wide variety of views, and that those views are brought into the workplace that can create a challenge. So let's suppose there's, and I think this is sort of what we found over time, is that there's a group think that kind of happens at a workplace oftentimes, particularly if they're smaller. And if there's a view that, we shouldn't be wearing masks, there's almost a reluctance of some employees to come to work and wear a mask or wear something that's more protective, or to express concern about it. And so what this regulation says is you can't discriminate. So you've got to be careful that you as an employer, not just you as management, but that you're creating a situation where your employees are not making it discriminatory or difficult for somebody to wear that mask in the workplace. I will tell you some examples of some situations that we've had from some clients. I've had a client that had an employee who there was some doubt whether she really had exposure to COVID. She had gone to the doctor, had a negative COVID test, and then still felt like she should be staying home. And then in all of her communications to her employer were constantly, the ray line was my rights under ETS, or my rights under CDC, or my rights, are being violated. So certainly, you have employees out there that are very much aware of these concerns and wanting to make sure that, their rights, they have a right to take FICRA leave, they have a right to be protected and not have to work if they think it's a unsafe work environment. So again, I'll point you to sort of that last bullet there, is it specifically says in the emergency temporary standard that nothing shall limit an employee from refusing to do work or enter a location they feel is unsafe. I have not had too many scenarios where that's happened, but I will say that if you are representing a school district now with the teachers, or if you're a private school, that you're going to have some of that, and there's some potential issues of if an employee says, I don't feel safe coming to work. How do you make the employee feel safe? Some of these things you could potentially remedy. It's not an all or nothing. You may have a particularly challenging employee that no matter what you say won't make them satisfied. But I found as a practical experience that the more you talk to the employee and you say, hey, here's the CDC guidance, here's all the things that we're doing to try and make it safe. We really value our employees and their safety. And obviously we want to protect you and everyone else. Here are all the things we're doing, that a lot of these things have been able to be resolved in a mutually satisfactory way. It's not to say that every situation will be like that. Some, as I said, if you're somebody who says, you know, it's morally reprehensible, or you have an employee who feels it's morally reprehensible to come to work because, this is a pandemic and no one should be having any exposure, you're going to have a harder time with that employee than if you have someone who just says, hey, I don't feel safe, but tell me all that you're doing. That will help me feel better.